Good day, everybody. Morsels of a Thought, 1938. We are on rule number 5 of The Rules for Marriage by Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider. Time-tested secrets for making your marriage work. It is Thursday, TR Thursday. I would like to read to you rule number. Excuse me while I yawn. Oh my god. Sorry, I just woke up. Rule number 5. Okay. Uh, lower your expectations in the first year. And I imagine that when you want to lower your expectations, you want to probably do it for a little longer than a year. But let's see. For some couples, the first year of marriage is a continuation of the honeymoon. For others, it can be quite an adjustment period. He wants he wants things his way, you want things your way, and you can't believe he won't change for you. If he really loved you, he would change, right? Well, welcome to the first year of marriage, where arguments about where to live, how often to see your family, how to spend money, what to have for dinner, and so on can take their toll on a relationship. Unfortunately, sometimes there is no answer to your differences, no right or wrong, and very often it's just the little things that set you off. For example, you want the air conditioning off, he likes it on all the time and tells you on a hot summer day, why don't you wear a sweater if you're cold? Meanwhile, you think he should see a specialist about his snoring. He thinks you're overreacting and accuses you of being a light sleeper. You like to watch movies in utter silence as if you were all by yourself. He likes to watch movies as a couple, explaining the plot as it unfolds and commenting on the actors. She looks familiar, wasn't she? And causing you to miss bits and pieces of dialogue. You tell him to be quiet, he gets offended, and you feel guilty. And now this little friction makes you miss bits and pieces of the movie. You envision your apartment with a minimalist look, black leather couches, white Formica furniture, on a couple of nice modern paintings. Oh, a couple of nice modern paintings and silver artwork on the mantel above the fireplace. He wants to put his 15-year-old plaid recliner with the stuffing coming out of it in the living room, a gaudy bronze baseball trophy he won in college on the fireplace, and antique family heirlooms on the coffee table. You can't believe you married someone with such bad taste, and you tell him so. He gets angry and sulks in his broken recliner. In your worst nightmare, you never imagined that your first year of marriage would be about this. Relax. Most first year marriage differences can be solved simply by lowering your expectations. Don't expect to see eye to eye on everything. Just because you love each other doesn't mean you're going to think and feel the same way about everything. Some of the most happily married couples don't. So don't compare your marriage to TV movies and Hallmark cards showing marital bliss or to your friends' perfect marriage, quote, end quote. The movies are not real, and your friend's marriage is not perfect. In some cases, just agreeing to disagree can take the edge off. In others, somebody has to adjust and see the other person's point of view. In those cases, why not give it a try? Here are some here are some true first year marriage stories and the advice we gave the wives. Perhaps you can relate and apply the answers to your own situation. Bait and switch is a very common first year problem. Your husband behaved one way when you were dating and now he behaves another way. Oh my God, I have an example. There is a woman who is married to a man who is a smoker, heavy chain smoker, and she said that she never knew that he was a smoker. And then after she married him, there was smoke all over the house. I think to myself, had she gotten married in the US, she could have annulled the marriage almost, because that's kind of misrepresentation. It's fraud. God damn. For example, Don, okay, this is a different example, okay, in the book. Don was incredibly generous with money when he was dating Peggy. Fine restaurants, flowers, lavish gifts, and expensive trips were commonplace. But When they got married, Santa Claus turned into Scrooge. He wanted to eat only in Chinese restaurants, scrutinized Peggy's credit card charges, and talked constantly about investments. Most of their fights had to do with Peggy's spending. One of the worst was when she came home one cold Saturday afternoon in January and took off her socks and shoes to relax. Took off her socks and shoes to relax. Dawn noticed that she had gotten a pedicure and blurted out, "Why do you need a pedicure in the winter? Who's going to see your toes? You're wasting money. Why can't you do it yourself?" A 2-hour argument ensued. "The pedicure cost $15 and I'm going to see my toes in the winter. You spent $15 on appetizers when we were dating. Why are you making this a federal case?" She then launched into a 20-minute speech about how she works just as hard as he does and is entitled to some pampering. Dawn wanted to know how they were going to save for a house and kids if Peggy threw away money on salons, long distance phone calls to friends around the country, and endless pairs of shoes. Peggy said, "You're overreacting. $15 isn't going to make or break a down payment." To which Dawn replied, "It adds up. Besides, you can't spend money like you're single anymore. We have to build a nest egg." When Peggy contacted us, we explained that Don's behavior was not so unusual. When a man is dating, he's trying to impress you. But when he's married, he's thinking of other things like paying the mortgage and saving for the kids' college tuition. Peggy needed to lower her expectations, not to expect Don to be oblivious to finances and not to feel offended if he questioned her spending. We suggested she even appreciated that Don cared so much about their future security. We did not tell Peggy to cut back on her spending. That is her business, but to see Don's point of view and allow him to worry and make comments about money without getting defensive or self righteous. We suggested that she think about how she spent her money and if the expense was worth it to her to respond rationally, not angrily, so the next time Don scrutinized her spending, she could calmly reply, "I know, you may be right, but I really like pedicures. They make me feel good." Maybe your husband's bait and switch is that he used to want to go out a lot and have fun, and now he's glued to the TV and a little boring. Perhaps your husband's change in behavior is that he ran marathons when you were dating, and now he snacks constantly, let his gym membership expire, and has gained 30 pounds. In this case, there is nothing you can do but live with it. It is unrealistic to expect a man to act exactly the way he did when he was dating you. He would venture to guess that you probably don't exercise as much, wear as much makeup, or those uncomfortable high heels and padded bras now that you did when you were single. The same goes for men. Once they're comfortable with you, they tend to relax in their own ways, be it spending less or eating more or not shaving. They're not trying to impress you every waking moment. Don't expect them to. Know that it will just take time of adjustment before you both are used to each other's behavior, and have faith that it will even out after the first year. I'm taking a look. Okay. Okay. Different schedules and habits can also wreak havoc in the first year of marriage. Here's another true story. Cindy knew they've changed the names. Cindy knew Steve liked rock music when they were dating, but didn't notice until they were married that he played the stereo loudly every day when he woke up at 6 a.m. She didn't have to wake up for work until 7 a.m. and preferred the gentle sounds of birds chirping in their backyard. Every morning she woke up with resentment. Not only was she up an hour earlier, but she had to listen to deafening music. She asked Steve if he could stop playing the music in the morning and just listen to the radio in the car on the way to work. "I've been waking up to music my whole life. I need it to help me get started in the morning. Why don't you wear earplugs or something?" he objected. Cindy tried earplugs, but they only cut the sound in half. More upsetting than the music was Steve's refusal to compromise. If he loved her, wouldn't he care about her extra sleep and serenity? "How could I have married someone so inconsiderate?" she asked us. We told Cindy that she couldn't expect her husband to change a lifelong habit and asked if there was anything that could turn her earlier waking time to her advantage, like going to morning sessions at a gym. She now takes a 6 a.m. aerobics class and leaves Steve alone to enjoy his music. And she is thrilled to have her workout out of the way before her workday even begins. Sometimes compromise can work to your advantage, and the sounds you're hearing are of my cat feeders feeding my cats. Okay, all right, next. Some first year marriage dilemmas are more serious than eating dinner together. Here is Betty and Barry's story. Giddy in love, Betty did not think twice about leaving her friends, family, and career in the city, where she had lived her whole life, to move to the rural suburbs, where Barry owned a home and business. She just assumed that love would conquer all. Excuse me. But by their second month of marriage, Betty realized that she could not stand the sight of deer in her backyard, missed the city, and was bored and lonely. She complained morning, noon, and night. If you loved me, you'd move to New York, she would tell Barry. Her husband refused to relocate. You'll get used to it. Everyone does, he reassured her. She found his answers cold and callous for him, easy for him to say. He's lived here his whole life. After fighting for another 6 months about where to live, Betty contacted us. We told her that if she wanted to stay married to Barry, she had to accept their living situation and that it was unrealistic to think he would relocate. We counseled her to stop telling Barry how unhappy she was and put her energy instead into finding work and meeting people in her area. Sentences beginning with, if you loved me, or I hate the suburbs, should be removed from her conversation. The plan took time, but after a few months, she found a part time job in her neighborhood and made a few friends by taking a night course and joining a gym. Suddenly, the suburbs didn't seem so bad. Plus, Barry was so pleased by her adjustments that he suggested a weekend trip to New York City and liked it so much that it became a frequent activity. If you are sparring with your husband over a serious or petty issue, try lowering your expectations of marital bliss. You may be pleasantly surprised, for he may appreciate your compassion and respond by meeting you halfway. Remember, the only way to get your way all the time is to live by yourself, and even that is no guarantee. A noisy neighbor next to your lonely apartment can interrupt your sleep just as much as a snoring husband. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Old Kinderhook. Bye bye.